Hi folks, it's Smitty, Dr. Smith, whoever I am, right folks? We all know who I am. You see a little bit of a gray tail walking around, that's Gray Kitty. And of course we see Sheridan. That Sheridan we were concerned about, weren't we, Miss Katie?
Yes, we were.
Because he had what?
He had an abscessed tooth.
And we weren't certain it was more because he was bleeding.
Yeah.
It was unpleasant. But what did we get today?
We got Enemies of Rome.
And who is that from? It's our friend Grant Wiley at Worthington Games, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And how many games did we get from them today?
11.
11. You can count that high?
11.
You can count into double digits?
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, talk to me about the cover there, miss. Who does that look like to you?
The Centurion looks like Lucius Vorenus.
Doesn't that look like the opening scene in Rome?
In Rome.
Which is maybe your favorite series of all time.
It should have gone for more than 2 seasons.
But this looks like a fun little game. It's colorful. And what do we always say about your help? We thank you, don't we?
Yes.
And of course, and in back of her is
Ollie.
Ollie, he's a big boy and he likes to lick the back of your legs. As always, thank you, sweetie. Bye-bye. Hi, folks. It's Smitty again. Can you believe it? The only cat on the table is Petunia over there. I have nobody up here to help me at the moment. That's shocking, isn't it? Let's talk about game components. First, as Miss Katie said, it looks like we have Lucius Vorenus on the cover. Certainly eye-catching, certainly a good marketing technique. We have bright counters. I'm ready to punch one out right here. You can see, in fact, before we started this, I had punched out all the yellow ones. They are that easy to dismount. Nice counters and money. Always like money. Miss Katie loves money. We then have, of course, it's a card-driven game. And we've got now Miss Frankie. Hello, Miss Frankie. Are we going to walk through? We're walking through. Come on. You think she was a migrating Helvetii tribe or a Belgique tribe. But we've got cards, and some of the cards are very interesting. We've got cards that say Macedonian Wars, Gallic Wars, Campaigns of Agricola, which of course is a game by Holdenspiel, Gothic Wars. I guess you need to dress all in black and have what, purple eyeshadow and strange fingernails. Roman Civil Wars, which I've written a good book review on a book by Mike Duncan, and that was the civil war between, I think it was Marcellus and Solon. Pre-Caesar and Pompey, and then Parthian Wars. Well, we also have here nice rule book, and I always like having some sort of other map given so you can make copies of this and use it to play with, and it also shows you your starting legions areas, and of course we'll go into this in greater detail when I do the close-up. The armies, and for our friend Sam K, no other baggies, Sam, except for the dice that come in, so there's no additional baggies. These are the armies and the fleets for the game. And of course, green are the enemies of Rome. So that makes it real easy to figure out that which dice do you think are the enemies of Rome here, Miss Katie?
Green.
The green ones, very good. You may be allowed to have a lemon snack cookie tonight.
Yay.
And of course, the red ones are for legions. And I should have mentioned here that on the sheet, these are different colored legions in terms of play. Because the game, excuse my map while I make it a little better here, you can see in general, it's an area-based map. And we will, of course, look at this better. But I like the overall look and as Sarah and Zips would say, that old-timey feel. It has a nice old-timey feel. It's a nice map, and we're happy to have it. Now let's talk about some books, because we know I always like to talk about books. Miss Katie likes books too, so thank God I married a woman who likes books. First, there is the excellent little book. Well, of course, everyone's read Caesar's Gallic Wars, haven't they? I read this book for the first time, maybe high school. Then I read it again as a second lieutenant and learned some interesting tricks like, wow, ambush your enemies with the sun in their eyes. And that's why I did well as a young army lieutenant. Caesar Health. There is a really good, thick book, Rome and Her Enemies. Lots of illustrations, easy to read. What's interesting is it's a book by not Michael Grant, because Michael Grant is generally sort of the dean of Roman historians. And then there is my favorite book, Rubicon by Tom Holland. And we all know what the Rubicon is, because you remember when Pullo and Lucius Vorenus were in the wagon and they crossed this little stream, but it was then considered a river in Italy. But this is prior, leading up to the Civil War, that if you crossed the Rubicon with your legions back into Italy, you declared war on the Republic. So, but Holland does a masterful telling here, and it's very much worth your time. You can find it cheaper on both eBay and Amazon these days, but you want the hardback version because you're going to go back to it time and time again. And I reread it about every 2 to 3 years. It and Persian Fire, who, I don't know if that was Tom Holland also, but so good books here. We'll get into more detail with the stuff here in a moment. And as always, we thank you for watching up to this point. Yes, let's talk a little bit about the cover here. We'll try to get some glare off it, but it's easy to see. That sure looks like Lucius Vorenus, but we don't see Pullo's big head there, do we? We talked about books. We'll scan those here for you. We've got Rubicon by Tom Holland, which is one you surely want to add to your collection. We have Rome and Her Enemies, which is a general nice overall work, and if you look at the cover artwork, it's more that medieval style of Rome. And then, of course, the Gallic Wars, and I suppose on the other side, yep, there he is, Vercingetorix. I have trouble sometimes saying my own name and remembering my kids' names. I want to call them somebody else's or my brother or sister, but Vercingetorix, I can always get that one. Now let's look at the counters for the game. Here they are. Nothing that may be necessarily exciting, rather generic, but that's okay for this sort of game because it's not it's not that historically based. We're going to have this legion during this at this point in history. So I'm okay with this. It's a higher level game. And then of course we have our cards. We talked about these. We've got, that's what a card looks like. But then here comes the fun cards. We talked about these, Parthian Wars. And of course the cards have a text, forces, and what can be moved or used. Same thing in this, Roman Civil War, Gothic War, because the Goths did matter later, the campaigns, Gallic Wars, and Macedonian Wars when Philip builds a fleet. Now let me grab the map and we'll be right back. All right, folks, I'm back. These are actually, well, they are money, but they're called intrigue talents. When intrigue talents are used for what? Well, of course, they're used for intrigue. And what an intrigue talent will allow you to do is various game functions, such as it may allow you to remove enemies off the board or such. Okay, that's an interesting concept. I can sort of live with that. Now let's talk about card play a little more here and what the cards really do. Let's use this card, the Macedonian Wars. 3 enemy blocks are placed in Macedonia, and here then, that would mean 3 enemy fleets would move. Here, we would have, this card would allow us 3 legion groups conduct a land movement, 1, 2, 3, or if it's the other player, the enemy, 2 enemy of Rome can move. Okay, that seems all nice and simple for me. Now at the top of the map, they call it glory points. And the winner, of course, has the most points. And who controls the most areas? Say like Belgique, Germany, Rhaetia, Noricum, Aquitania, Lusitania, Numidia, Africa, Procons. Who controls the most areas ends up with 3 additional points at the end of the game. Glory points can also be lost, that if you lose an area, well, you lose points for losing that area, and of course you gain points by, say, if you conquer Britannia. So it looks like a cute little game, cute and fun. I think it's about a 2-hour game. That means it will take me 3 hours, or it might even take me 4, because I will write up and take pictures and do things. So, and Miss Katie liked this one because she said, looks very Egyptian to me. So, here we are. Thanks to our friends at Worthington for another nice new game. And we'll get this up and talk to you in a bit. Bye-bye.